So it's the 25th of July 2025, and this is down in Belmore Park, opposite this building here, which is where the HCCC headquarters is in Sydney. And this is it's for Barbara O'Neill, and yeah, I'll let the speeches will give us an idea of what it's about. But there's a lot of people wanting to get photos with her. Everyone probably knows her from the internet as being quite, you know, she's quite famous online.
If you're here, I'll give you my...
Yeah, so just having a few moments of photos, and then it'll be kicking off for the speeches. So let's yeah, we'll see how that goes. There's a good crowd. I always thought there'd be reasonably good numbers here, and it is. It's like, oh, maybe 100. And there's a couple of cops right over there, a couple of cops just sitting there, but I don't know that there's any marches or anything else. And then this guy, I don't think that he's not mainstream media. I'd say he's filming for them, maybe. I don't know, to be honest, but we'll see. And yeah, she's very much in, yeah, you know, everyone wants a photo with her. Barbara O'Neill, Sustain Me book, one lady's holding up. But yeah, and husband is Michael O'Neill, he's in the HART Party, which was IMOP originally. I can spot him, I can see him, but I can't see him, so at this stage. But there's going to be a few speakers here today, and we'll record what
Welcome
happens.
everybody.
Oh, here we go. We're off.
Yes, this lovely. Let you sneak in, and then we're going to get going. We Michael O'Neill. Call out to Michael O'Neill. His parents are waiting for him. Please go to the service desk. Children these days.
Thank you.
So I am going to stand on the stage in a minute. It looks a bit wobbly. Do you reckon it'll hold my weight? Here we go. I might need a hand up. Now, Barbara, why don't you take a little rest? Have a little rest. You've been travelling a long time. I'm just going to get up here. Mike, can you help me out? I don't know how we're going. Okay, hello everybody. Welcome. My name is Mary Jane, and I am from Freedom Financial Solutions, also known as Freedom FFS, if you know what I mean. And I'll be guiding you through today's wonderful event. And thank you so much to everybody here. Who here is from Sydney? Give a hood. Amazing. Who here is not from Sydney? Woo-hoo! I came from Canberra. Who can beat that? Where'd you come from? Tamworth. Where'd you come from? Taree. Oh my God. Port Macquarie. Gold Coast. Blue Mountains. That's amazing. And where'd you come from? Yarrabolla. Narrabolla. Where's that? What? Carabolla. Well, you can tell I don't know where that is. It's a long way away, but thank you. Thank you, everybody. Give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you. It's amazing. And so today is Friday, the 25th of July, 2025, and we are in Belmore Park in front of the New South Wales Health Care Complaints Commission. Whoa! Now, you may well boo, but you know what? I want to say thank you. Because as Dougal the Garbage Dump Bear says, sometimes bad things happen so that good things can happen. Yeah? And if I'm a half glass full kind of a gal, so if it hadn't been for the marvellous HCCC, Barbara would not have become the mega superstar she is around the world today. So thank you. Now, so I've, my own story like you maybe was 5 years ago. Suddenly we heard the ABC saying the same things that the government was saying, that the big corporations were saying, that all the mainstream media was saying, and suddenly a veil lifted. Who's like that? Yeah. And suddenly I went, oh my gosh, I don't trust any of it, so I'm going to keep asking questions. And that's when I met our first speaker that I'll introduce you to. Barbara will be speaking in due course. And this is the wonderful Michael Sims from Millions March Against Mandatory Vaccines. So I first met Michael in April 2020 on the steps of Old Parliament House in Canberra. There were 7 of us. And then since that time, I've helped Michael organise some of Australia's biggest rallies, including here in HART Park, November 21, and the convoy to Canberra. Oh, yeah, that was great. So, without further ado, Michael Sims. Big round of applause.
Everyone make some noise. I'm only really here to hype you up a bit, not to talk about me. So I've worked with Barbara for a little bit, and what I find the most alarming is running her social media pages. We were contacted by people like Kate Hudson, Hollywood actress, dream team players that play basketball around the world. Barbara did a private consultation with the wife of a famous NBA player. Multiple NBA players reached out.
Got to back up. We're fine.
Cutting budget, cutting down on batteries.
Two. What was I saying? Multiple celebrities, famous athletes, Olympians, a top 5 tennis player in the world all reached out to Barbara O'Neill on social media wanting help. Yet the people in the building over there think she's a cooker. That's bad advice. She gives bad advice apparently. So let's go through some. Can I get everyone out there to say Barbara says when I point to you?
Barbara says.
Go to bed early.
I agree. Barbara says.
Drink lots.
The universe.
We want the HCCC to hear it.
They probably cause it.
You can just shout.
Drink lots of water. Eat your vegetables. That's dangerous, isn't it? Anyone think that's dangerous advice? But the media, the government can say all this bad advice and they can take it back. They said it was safe and effective. Let's not go there, let's not go there. But that's all, I just wanted to hype you up a bit. So can we make some noise to the HCCC over there? Can we get a free Barbara Trinh going? Let's go. Free Barbara O'Neill. Free Barbara O'Neill. Free Barbara O'Neill. Louder. Thank you, Sydney. That was good. I'm off.
I'm sorry about this. We have a lack of volunteers. Thank you so much. Our next speaker I'd love to introduce is someone whose courage has lit a fire under the truth movement in Australia. Dr. My-Le Trinh is not only a medical professional, but a whistleblower. Ooh. Speaking out against the suppression of medical facts and standing firm for truth and justice in health. Her integrity and bravery serve as a beacon for others within the system who know something isn't right. So please join me in welcoming Dr. My-Le Trinh.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is My-Le Trinh. I've been a medical doctor for nearly 30 years. In all that time, I've never had a single complaint. Until one day in September 2021, when 2 complaints were made against me, just hours apart. What followed was not accountability, it was not public protection, it was the beginning of so far a 3.5 years ordeal with a government agency known as the Healthcare Complaints Commission. Before I share what happened to me, I want to thank Barbara and Michael O'Neill for allowing me to be part of this demonstration. I'm honored to stand and fight alongside both of you. I want to thank Senator John Ruddick. Thank you for your public support in calling out the Healthcare Complaints Commission. Your willingness to speak in Parliament that others were too afraid to confront. And to the members of the public, thank you. Thank you for your support, your presence at my hearing, for your words of encouragement, and to strengthen me and keep me going despite what seems like an endless and unjust battle. I'm deeply grateful. Thank you. I believe I became a target because I prescribed ivermectin. A drug that was showing promise in treating COVID-19. I wasn't investigated because I harmed anyone. I didn't. I was investigated because I challenged the official narrative.
Well done. Well done.
There was a worldwide agenda to discredit this drug, and had it been recognized as a safe and effective, it could have undermined the basis for emergency use authorization for the COVID vaccines. So doctors like me who relied on science and experience had to be silenced. The first complaint came from Westmead Hospital intern. She later admitted she didn't know why she made it. She said she was following instruction of her supervisor, Associate Professor Narangunja, the head of toxicology at Westmead Hospital. The patient involved never gave consent for that complaint. In fact, I was led to believe that consent had been given. It had not. The second complaint came from someone calling himself John Smith. There was no working phone number, no valid email address, no physical address. He could never be identified. His complaint was based on a stolen ivermectin prescription, one I had left at the chemist due to a supply shortage. The script belonged to a family member. John Smith forgot to redact the Medicare number, and that allowed me to confirm who it belonged to. A chemist assistant later told me that the script had been handed over to an APRA agent. Despite these baseless and improper complaints, the Medical Council decided on the very same day it notified me of the complaints to convene an emergency suspension hearing under Section 150 of the national law. I was given little to no meaningful opportunity to engage in the process. The speed in which it proceeded gave the impression that the outcome had already been decided. I was denied every form of due process. No proper notice, no fair hearing, no opportunity to defend myself. Every principle of procedural fairness was cast aside. But it didn't stop here. It didn't stop there. After my suspension, the Medical Council had only one lawful role: to refer the matter to the Healthcare Complaints Commission. Instead, they did something else. They took their own internal document, the reasons for suspension, and secretly reclassified it as a third complaint.
What do you expect from the government?
It was not disclosed to me, not for 6 months. That complaint was never served, never assessed, never identified. And here is the legal problem. Under the law, the Medical Council cannot make a complaint in such situation. Its role is to refer, not to prosecute. But by turning its own adjudication into an accusation, it acts as both judge and accuser, and it violates the rule of law. The third complaint was the only one the Healthcare Complaints Commission ultimately relied on. They quietly dropped the other two. But they continued referencing all three in their letters, misleading me and my legal team for more than 18 months. While pretending to investigate all three complaints, they had already decided to prosecute one, the one they had created. And so I was dragged before the tribunal, where the Healthcare Complaints Commission is now trying to cancel my registration for up to 5 years and imposing a fine, all based on a complaint they had no jurisdiction to make, secretly created, and which was never lawfully served. After I was suspended on the 27th of October 2021, the Medical Council and the Healthcare Complaints Commission has had a statutory duty under Section 145D to refer my case to the tribunal if they believe the complaints, if substantiated, may justify suspension or cancellation. That referral is not optional. It is a safeguard. It is a mechanism through which a doctor gets to defend themselves. Then, on the 14th of April 2022, the Court of Appeal, comprising of 3 judges, including the Chief Justice, handed down a decision of prison. Then, on the 14th of April 2022, the Court of Appeal, comprising of 3 judges, including the Chief Justice, handed down decision in Prison v Medical Council of New South Wales. Although this case did not set precedent on Section 145D1 of the national law, the court gave clear guidance. Serious complaints must be referred to the tribunal. That judgment confirmed what the law already intended. It was after that decision that I challenged the failure to refer my case, first before the tribunal, then the Court of Appeal. But the courts ignored the reasoning in prison. They denied me the process that Parliament had intended. I maintained that the decision in my case were not only wrong in law, they were fundamentally unjust. The reality is this: the basis for my suspension was invalid. The complaint used to investigate and prosecute me was unlawfully created. And despite following every legal avenue, from the tribunal to the Court of Appeal, I was denied justice at every step. The fact that this could happen in Australia, a country I believed in, tells me something deeply is wrong with our legal system. This is not supposed to be a lawless society. There is supposed to be a rule of law, and that must apply to the regulators just as it is to each one of us. It cannot be allowed to go on. Something must be done. We're not China. We're not North Korea. The Healthcare Complaints Commission is a statutory body. Its power comes from legislation, and it must act within the law. When it operates outside the law, by inventing complaints, seizing records without consent, and prosecuting doctors without jurisdiction, it commits serious legal violations. And if this can happen to me, a doctor with an unblemished record who saved a woman's life, then it can happen to any doctor. And if doctors are afraid to speak, and if this can happen to me, a doctor with an unblemished record who saved a patient's life, then it can happen to any doctor. And if doctors are afraid to speak, then patients suffer. That is why I'm calling for a Parliamentary Oversight Committee to investigate the Healthcare Complaints Commission fully, urgently, and publicly. We must demand an inquiry into the creation and concealment of the third complaint, accountability of the misuse of Section 150 powers, investigation to the unlawful seizures of patients' records, a review of all cases where Section 145D was not followed, and enforcement of legal duty to refer serious complaints to the tribunal. Oversight on how the Healthcare Complaints Commission exercises its authority against doctors and health practitioners who cause no harm. Because if the Healthcare Complaints Commission allowed to operate without limits, it can invent complaints, prosecute doctors, strip away rights behind closed doors, then we, the people, we have allowed a government body that had long behaved like a tyrant to become one of the greatest threats in public health in this state. We must restore integrity in our institutions. We must stand by the rule of law, and we must protect the rights of doctors to practice medicine ethically without fear. Thank you.
Huge round of applause to a very courageous lady, a doctor, health professional, and how many other courageous health professionals are there out here with us today? Yeah, hands up if you are a health professional. Are you still a health professional? Okay, yes and no. Who's got a sign here today? Hold a sign up. Hold it up, hold it up. There's the ABC over there. Hold it and show them. All right, Michael O'Neill, Michael Sims, would you mind holding this for a minute for me? Sorry, thank you very much, Michael. So, thank you very much, Dr. Tran. And we do indeed have a few courageous politicians. We know that it's very hard being a politician, and there's a lot of pressures, there's a lot of lobbyists, there's a lot of money that goes around. But today we're joined today by someone who brings integrity and courage into the political arena. This is New South Wales Member of the Legislative Council, John Ruddick. John has been a consistent voice for civil liberties, transparency and medical freedom in Parliament. He stands for the rights of individuals to make informed choices without coercion. Please welcome John Ruddick, MLC.
March, it's a great honour to stand here with My-Le Trinh and Dr. Barbara O'Neill, because the thing that is lacking most in the world today is a little thing called courage. Now, you know the thing about medical professionals, look, by and large they're good people, but you know, I'll tell you something about them. If you get into medical school at university, you've got to be right at the top of the class. You've had to be a goody two-shoes since you were 5 years old. You have to be the teacher's pet. You go home, you do the homework, you don't get in trouble like I used to at school, and you've had to come, in the top 1% of the state. You've had to learn how to be very compliant, and you just sort of go with the flow. The Hippocratic Oath that started the whole medical industry, they said, look, there must be no interference between the relationship between the doctor and the patient. Now, this is what the Healthcare Complaints Commission is doing. They are interfering in that. Yes. Now, I do, if you've got any rotten eggs out there, please. If you have any rotten eggs out there, please don't throw them at me, because I do have a confession. I worked for Pfizer 25 years ago. What had happened was I was a little humble staffer. John Howard had just got elected. I'm working for Ross Cameron, who's the Liberal member for Parramatta. Who's got their plant in the middle of Parramatta? Pfizer. They were they used to throw around money at fundraisers, okay, and I became close to them. And then after 2 years, they said, John, why don't we double your salary? You can come and work for us in government relations. I said, okay, yeah, sure, sounds good to me. So on my very first day there at Pfizer, I'm sitting there with a big executive at his desk, and I say, look, what do I do? He said, okay, look, here's a gold Amex. I said, okay, cool, what do I do with that? He said, your job, John, is easy. We want you to take out for breakfast, lunch and dinner as much as you can, politicians, media, regulators. Just take them out for lunch, spend everything you can, it's all on us. I said, what a job, this is an easy job. Now, they did sack me after 5 months, unrelated to what I was about to say. And I have to confess, they did the right thing in sacking me, because I didn't like working there. But they told me, I said, okay, well, what do I tell them? I said, I don't know anything about pharmaceuticals. And they said, okay, this is what you tell them, 2 things. They say, for every time that one of our scientists in the lab comes up with a concept vaccine, let's say there's 40 concept vaccines, only one of them will ever get to market. I said, oh, why is that? What happened to the other 39? They said, oh, unintended side effects. We don't want to, okay. And then they said the second thing is that it takes 10 years to get a concept vaccine to market. I said, oh, why is that? Unintended side effects. I thought, okay, well, it makes sense. Now I'm of the view that, you know, I'm very open to the idea that all vaccines have got side effects, but we'll put that aside for the moment. Then we fast forward about sort of 22 years, and I hear about this, you know, we've got the new Ebola, okay? We've got the Black Death coming over. It's called COVID. And, you know, when you first read the media reports, you think, oh, well, this could be serious. You know, there have been, you know, epidemics in the past. And you don't know what to trust coming out of China. But the first Western country to have COVID was Italy. And I remember I woke up one morning in, you know, early February 2020, and I read in the Sydney Morning Herald that COVID's hit Italy. 500 people have died overnight. I'm thinking, gee, that's pretty serious. But then I read down in the paper, and what it said is, oh, well, yeah, well, like pretty much everyone who's died is over the age of 80. And, I mean, every winter old people die of the flu. It's been happening since we were in the cave. But they also said that almost everybody that died already had 2 or 3 other comorbidities, already something wrong with it. So I thought to myself, okay, look, okay, it sounds like a bad flu, and bad flus happen. This is not something that we should shut the world down about. So I was saying, look, we are overreacting to this. And this is why we've got all the inflation, you know. Stay home, everybody, for 2 years. The government will give you free money. Okay, gee, surprise, surprise, inflation's through the roof. But then what happened 4 months after that, when the silly COVID first hit, and I'm pulling my hair out thinking, how mad are we all going? Then I hear President Trump, who I generally have a high regard for, but he got bamboozled by Big Pharma, and he says, we're coming out with a warp speed vaccine. So then I thought back to what Pfizer told me in the 1990s. They said, well, hang on, we don't rush these things because they could have a negative side effect. So I just said, there's no way on God's earth I'm going to take this vaccine. It's a warp speed vaccine. And I was telling my friends at the time, I said, you know what? I was telling my friends at the time, this is before I'd met all you good people and Michael O'Neill, who's become a very good friend. I said to my friends, I said, look, you know what, I reckon there's a 90% chance this vax will work, okay, but it's rushed, and there's a 10% chance it's going to backfire. Now, why are they persecuting My-Le? And, you know, I know people in Castle Hill. She's not your average local GP. She is loved by the local community. And if you know anybody in Castle Hill, you ask them, if they've been there for a while, they love My-Le Trinh. And she ran for our little party at the last election, helped me get elected, so we're very grateful for that. Her vote was about 3 times higher than most of our candidates because people said, look, I don't even know much about the Libertarian Party, but I love My-Le Trinh. Now, what was her great crime? You know, she was a refugee from Cambodia, Pol Pot. You know the Pol Pot? Yes. Left-wing communists. Now, we all hear about Stalin and all these other bad communists. Pol Pot killed 1/3 of the whole population. That's how bad it was, and she's escaped here. She's a very sincere Christian. She's worked very hard. She's become a doctor. And why is she a doctor? Because she just wants to help people. That's clearly what's in her heart. And because she wants to help people, then what happens is, she says, when the COVID comes out, what had happened is various researchers around the world had worked out, you know, wow, if you take a bit of ivermectin, it really reduces the chances of you dying of COVID. Now, the pharmaceutical industry, which is the second most corrupt industry in the world behind the defence manufacturers, they have unbelievable greed. Okay, now I'm not talking about the greed of like an entrepreneurial guy who makes $1 billion. Okay, a lot of them, it's not so much greed, they're just doing it for the sense of achievement, but corporate executives. Corporate executives, I've never seen more greed in my life than corporate executives. So of course they love this warp speed vaccine. And remember, Pfizer announced that they'd come out with a warp speed vaccine one day after they declared Joe Biden had won the election. Okay, they didn't want to give the credit to Trump. But anyway, so they hated ivermectin because there were rules about warp speed vaccines, and you couldn't bring in a warp speed vaccine. This has been the case forever if there was a possible alternative remedy. And there was, called ivermectin. And so this is why they had to declare war on ivermectin. And they told us that it's horse dewormer, okay? And if you take ivermectin, you're just taking horse dewormer. Well, Wikipedia is a very, very corrupt website, and if anybody knows anything about that, Barbara O'Neill knows about that. I've never seen a worse, more corrupted Wikipedia page than Barbara O'Neill. But even corrupt Wikipedia will tell you the inventors of ivermectin, which were Japanese guys, I think, about 10, 20 years ago, they won a little prize called the Nobel Prize for Medicine, okay, because of it was a super drug. And they just found it in the soil of Japan, I think. And it had been prescribed 4 billion times. Wikipedia tells you that, okay? For various things, to human beings and animals. That's how good it is, humans and animals, but 4 billion human beings. But then, of course, when we find out that it might help us with COVID, then what happens is they say, oh no, it's horse dewormer and you're a nutcase if you're taking it. And if you're a doctor prescribing it, like Dr. My-Le Trinh, we're going to wipe you out. We're going to wipe you out. Now, I'll finish up in a moment because I know we want to hear from Barbara, the star of the show. Barbara is, there's a saying in the Bible, I think Jesus said, a prophet is never recognised in their hometown, okay? And if that saying was ever true, it's true with Barbara O'Neill. Now, most people in Australia, except for you good people, don't know Barbara O'Neill. Barbara O'Neill is a massive superstar all around the world. She's treated like royalty. She's treated like royalty because she makes people healthier. Okay, that's the bottom line. It's as simple as that. What she says, she's like My-Le Trinh. She really cares for people, and it's absolutely disgusting what they're doing. Now, I want to tell you one last little thing. This time, 2 days ago, the New South Wales Police Minister, Yasmin Catley, asked me to have a meeting in her ministerial office. Now, she wanted to talk about other things, and we talked about those other things. And she had 4 of her advisors there against little old me. And at the end, I said, look, Minister, now I've got your time. I would like to talk to you about something else. And she's the police minister. And I said, Minister, there were 70 police officers in New South Wales who did not take the warp speed vaccine. And I said, bear with us, everybody. Here we go. Okay. So I said there were 7. Now those coppers, those public servants, particularly the police, absolutely had the warp speed vaccine shoved down their throat, and they're saying, you don't take it, you get sacked. I think you had to take 3 or more of the warp. And a lot of them didn't want to take it, but a lot of them took it because, oh, well, I've got a kid and mortgages, okay, which is pretty outrageous. But 70 said, no, I don't want to take the warp speed vaccine. And they haven't been able to get their job back since. Now, I understand that about 50 of those 70 have now, and this is what I told the police minister, 50 of them have moved on. They're not happy about what happened, but they found another career. But 20 of them, all they want to do in life is be a police officer. And I said, Minister, look, none of these people that didn't take the COVID vaccine, surprisingly, not one of them died of COVID. Oh, what a mystery, what a mystery. And I said, look, the Queensland coppers that got sacked, thanks to Clive Palmer. I'll give credit to Clive Palmer on this occasion, your friend. Clive Palmer, who is a Queenslander, he funded the Queensland coppers, took it to the Queensland Human Rights Commission, and the Queensland Human Rights Commission said, this is outrageous, they can all have their jobs back. Thank you, Clive Palmer. Thank you for the Queensland Human Rights Commission. I said, look, we're just talking about 20 people. They're often young guys with a family. They're very good people. And I said, well, why can't we just, look, there's going to be no political downside for you in reinstating these 20 coppers, but it's going to mean a lot to these people. And she just says to me, no. That these people it wasn't just the COVID vaccine, there were other things that they were doing bad. I said, well, my understanding is that they were the best coppers, that they were, people who really loved their job. And then she said, oh, well, no, there was all these other things. And I said, well, I think it was it's bureaucratic malice, okay? And that's what the HCCC is, malice, okay? They're meant to be public servants, serving the public, okay? But what they're doing is they're serving themselves. They're empire building, okay? They on the public taxpayers' fund, treason, absolutely. So it's absolutely outrageous. So look, it's a terrific turnout today. Michael, thank you for inviting me. Barbara, I hadn't met Barbara before. I've read a book. I know all the great things she does. and it's an honour to be in your presence, and an honour to be in your presence, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your patience, everybody. Thank you for your patience. This is what happens when we run on a volunteer shoestring. So please, next time we hold something like this, do contact us, and we'll love to have a sound engineer. That'd be amazing. Thank you. So we're very, very close to hearing from the wonderful Barbara. But first of all, I'd like to introduce the wonderful Michael O'Neill. Now, Michael, I've known now for many years. He and I ran as candidates. As you know, Michael is the founder of the, in 2016, what was then to become known as the Informed Medical Options Party, trailblazing, the right to bodily autonomy, the right to have the choice that you can choose to put in your body. So he's a real trailblazer in that area. I ran with Michael O'Neill and also Michael Sims in the 2022 election under the Informed Medical Options Party, and in the 2025 election with the Health, Environment, Accountability, Rights and Transparency Party, also known as HART. So we would like a little bit of politics with HART. So without further ado, Michael O'Neill.
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you very much. It's an honour to be here, and I really respect the time you've put in to come here on a weekday, late on Friday afternoon, and support this protest against the HCCC. Thank you, My-Le. You're an amazing girl. Where is she? She's over here. There. I love you very much, love. You're a good girl. And thank you, John, and thank you everyone else. I can see Dr. Paul over here, and I know there's some others in the audience that have come here to support. You know, it's a really sad thing. Richard Nixon said, the trouble with the government is that we've got small people in big jobs. Yes. Small people in big jobs. Yes. And this is the case we have today. We have a workforce that's roughly 25% of the population, the workforce, either work for the government or government-funded organisations. This is a horrific. Am I right, John? Absolutely. Yes, thank you, John. And I can't believe, we have this society that was founded on the core principles of freedom. It was a country that people would flee to all over from the world to escape tyranny, just like My-Le did. Come away from Cambodia. In fact, we travel a lot in Europe and all over the world, and I had some friends up in Europe, and they said, we often think when things go pear-shaped in Europe, we can always go to Australia. They said, but after COVID, they said it's off the list. It's off the list because they can see, and sometimes we're like the frogs in the pot. We don't actually see what's happening around us. We're slowly being cooked, and we've come to accept that this horrific role and overreach that the government has in our lives is somehow normal. It's not normal, it's not right, it's not ethical, it's not moral. And what happened in that building, and I was a first-hand witness to the so-called hearing against my wife Barbara. In fact, the first charge, they said that she was prescribing goat's milk for children. Well, she was recommending goat's milk for children whose mothers couldn't breastfeed. It was one of about 4 options she gave. About half the world bring their children up on goat's milk. That's right. Okay, so what I did, I thought, oh well, they said it's potentially fatal. I said, okay, we would like the figures on that. Would you be able to give us the data? I'm not a researcher. They're researchers, so-called. I said, can we have the data? Their response was this: while there are no recorded deaths from goat's milk, it's potentially fatal. I knew I was dealing with some mad people. I knew something was intrinsically wrong. So they have morphed from an organisation where you or I could go to a doctor who'd done something terribly wrong, or a health professional, and we'd have a government agency. We could lodge a complaint, and they would have a hearing and see if my complaint was legitimate. But they have now morphed into an ideology enforcer.
That's right.
And
that's right.
This is actually completely wrong. Now, when Barbara sat in her tribunal, there was 4 people in there, 2 lawyers, an investigator, and I don't know what the other person was. But I did ask, was there any medical people here? There were none. There were none. And so they were talking unintelligently on things that they had no idea and making rulings. Now, the rule of law in a free country is that you're innocent until proven guilty. They operate that you are guilty and you try and prove your innocence. And you have all the force of the government there to actually fight against you, and they can come up and say, any preposterous thing that they like that, and it's just accepted, as if they're great authorities. So, the same with APRA.
Yeah.
Okay. It is a sad state. Yes, I am in politics, and my wife 100% supports me, and I 100% support her. I've been 38 years in the natural health industry. I was convicted as a young person when I was only 29 years old to start a health retreat. And I witnessed over the last 30 years literally thousands of people getting well. And after 10 years into running health retreats and helping people at virtually bare bones, the seat out of our pants, I married Barbara, and we united forces to actually take this wonderful message. Like, it doesn't matter who you are, the greatest priority should be in your life is being healthy.
Yes! You're healthy, you're well.
Of freedom a human being has, the last bastion of freedom is the freedom over their own body. And then they try to take away that God-given, inbuilt, innate force of freedom, then we know something's wrong. When the government has intervened to say, oh, you can't go to that doctor, you can go to this one over here, because this one uses the pharmaceutical model. The pharmaceutical model, this is the organisations collectively that have been fined $123 billion. $123 billion, get that figure, it's phenomenal. It's bigger than the economy of many small countries. That's their fines. This is not mistakes. These are when the courts found them blatantly and willingly guilty of doing things wrong. And this is the model we follow. Wow. We like to follow the model given to us by God, which says that our bodies are a creation of His, and it's built with His most intrinsic and wonderful inbuilt design that will heal you if you just give it the right conditions. From the day we came out of our mother's womb, every one of us, that body has been fighting to keep us alive and heal us. And we often are its greatest enemy. We shove, we do things, we stay up late, we don't drink water, we eat crap food, we do everything that's imaginable, and we hurt the body. Yes. And all Barbara was wanting to do, all I've wanted to do, is just to show people, hang on. Do you know there is a better way? Just drink more water. I asked them people in there one day, we were sitting in that hearing, and I said, which part of it doesn't you like? Is it the drinking the more water, the fresh air? You know, it was comical, but it was serious at the same time, because I knew they had the power. It was already determined. When we walked out of there with our lawyer, I turned to her, Barbara ran to the bathroom, and I said, how did that go? She said, I'm shocked. She said, they had nothing on you. She said, I don't really know you. We just engaged a lawyer from Unsworth Legal, and we said, and she was there representing us, and she said, I thought I was waiting for their big gotcha moment where they had Barbara. She says, they have nothing on her, nothing. Wow. I said, really? She said, so, well, that's it. She said, oh, no, they're going to give her a permanent prohibition order, but she's not going to court. She's not going to jail or be fined. There's nothing there to do that to. They'll just put a prohibition order on her. Really? And that's what they did. So I'm very glad to be here to protesting the conduct that's in this, and I'm very glad that John has brought this up in Parliament, and that it's going to be fought at that level. And I have asked other police to come along here, and I know some of them have told me personally that they follow Barbara. One of them said to me, I follow all her advice and I've never felt so well. I'm sorry she's not here. That's the state of the thing, and John mentioned it. We need brave people. Thank you, John, for being brave. You're a good man, brother, and a good friend. John of the Libertarian Party, I'm so glad he got elected. And I hope we had a little bit to do with it, John. Yes, thank you. Yes, that's good. Yeah. Okay, well, anyway, look, I'd like to now, I think it's next time, my wife's going to say something, and you'd probably rather hear her than me. Would you like, is that all right if I can just pull her up? Come up here, darling.
Make some noise. Get louder, everybody. Barbara O'Neill.
I'm going to stay here, Bob.
Hi, and thanks very much for coming. It's very encouraging to see so many of you. I believe in freedom. I believe in freedom. God's government is a government of freedom, and freedom is based on free choice.
Yes.
I am the master of my destiny.
Yes.
In fact, Nelson Mandela, he said, I'm the captain of my ship.
Yes.
I'm the master of my destiny. I am the one that chooses what I do and what I do not do to my body. And I'm so sorry to hear when governments come in with mandates. What's a mandate? You got to. And I know many were blackmailed into having the COVID shot. I know that. And I'm so thankful for John Ruddick for giving us a little bit of a history of the vaccines. They are not safe. And if you have a look at Florence Nightingale, remember way back then, do you know in the mid-1800s, all the sewage from London went into the Thames. And the people in London drank their water. No wonder there was so much disease. Florence Nightingale came along, she increased hygiene, sanitation and nutrition, and all those childhood illnesses reduced by 80-90%. Did you know that? Because what do they want us to think? They want us to think it was the vaccine. It was not. It was not. We've been told many things that are not true. They are deceptions. And what's a deception? Not as it seems. I've been interviewed by many people across the world, and they say, who are you? I say, I'm just a little lady from the rainforest. I just wanted to know, what can I do to give my children the right conditions for healing? And the more I investigated, the more I found, and the more excited I got. And guess what? They're all still alive. And our 25 grandchildren are still alive. And our 4 great-grandchildren are still alive. Because the fact is, our body was designed by God to heal itself. And remember Newton's third law of motion: to every action there's an equal and an opposite reaction. If the body is not well, if the body is not healing, we need to investigate and find out why. Because there is always a reason. Rudyard Kipling, he said, I have 6 trusty serving men. They taught me all I know. Their names are what, why, when, where, how and who. And I believe that God meant each one of us to be our own doctors. Yes. Because only you know how you feel. Only you know what you've been through. And only you know how different things respond or react on your body. No man can tell you that. Only you can tell you that. And as Michael said, it's our last bastion of freedom is our body. Yes. And it's our right. It's our God-given right to say, no, thank you very much. No, thank you. Don't feel bad. It's your right. And so the very best thing is to say, thank you so much for your advice. It's the best they know. Thank you so much for your advice. I'm going to seriously consider this. And then you go home and you consider. You weigh up the pros and the cons. And then you think, I might just try this poultice. And if it doesn't work, it hasn't killed you. So when I'm in Dublin, I'm in the airport, I'm waiting for my lift. A man comes up and he says, are you Barbara O'Neill? I said, I am. He's about, 57. He said, I got a story for you. He said, my grandfather's hands, they crippled up like a claw. The tendons started to shrink. My father's hands crippled up like a claw. My hand was beginning to cripple up like a claw. I saw you online. I heard about castor oil. Has anyone here heard about castor oil? Yeah. He said, I made a compress. I wore it every night for 2 months. I have no claw. No claw. Did you hear that? No claw. Such a simple remedy. God-given right. It's our God-given right to choose. And as one man said, I had an operation where they cut it to try and release it. It helped for a couple of months. Then I had another one. He said, now I've got scar tissue. Castor oil. How simple. So simple. I believe that the only way to better the things on planet Earth is education in the right principles. And that's what I do. I teach. I make no claims, I just teach. And the Healthcare Complaints Commission had a lot of trouble. They went through everything I've said, they went through everything I've written, and they couldn't find it. They couldn't find where I had claimed to be able to heal. Because I cannot. In fact, no drug can heal you, no herb can heal you. Only one thing has the ability to heal you, and that is your body. Your body, when it's given the right conditions, has the ability to heal. And an orthopedic surgeon, one of our guests, we get a lot of doctors come to our program. He said, I can set a bone, but I cannot heal a bone. Did everyone get that? Yes. He can set a bone. So yes, he has a place. The skill of the orthopedic surgeon has a place, but he cannot heal. So if the human body was designed to heal itself, doesn't it make sense that we just work with that? And you know, there's been a death, and no one attended the funeral because no one knew he died. It was the death of common sense. That's right. And that's what we use. We use common sense. Common sense. So I really can't understand why they claim I'm a threat to public safety. I can't understand that. Neither can we. Because you're a healer. Because there we go. Testing 1, 2, 3. Peter Piper picked a pepper, pickle pepper. Because that's all I do. So it's a bit of a puzzle to me. And so when I'm in Germany in 2021, this is my 5th year of being overseas for 9 months of the year teaching. And so I'm in Germany 2021, and a lady came up and she said, Barbara, I'm so sorry to say this, but we're so glad you were banned because it has freed you to come to us. And I thought, wow, it's freed me. It's given me freedom to give this incredible information all over the world. And by the way, Australia has never ever had so much information from me since I was banned. In fact, my husband said, I'm thinking of writing to the Healthcare Complaints Commission and thanking them. The people have spoken. Yes. The people have spoken, and our leaders need to listen. Yes. They need to listen to what you are saying. So Michael and I are on our morning walk this morning, and there are these workers and they've got these big cranes, and we hear this yelling, and we turn around and the driver of the crane said, I watch you. and then we're in the Novotel breakfast room, and the floor manager goes, I watch you. He said, I'm an Aboriginal. And he said, you speak according to our ways. Yeah. And yesterday, I'm in the hallway, and there are some, I don't know, maintenance men there fixing something. And I said, oh, excuse me, is this the right way? And the man turns around, he goes, oh, Barbara. Do you know what amazes me? Oh, yeah, and then I'm having lunch, and another man comes up and says, I'm from New Zealand, my wife watches you. Do you know what amazes me? The smorgasbord of people. Yeah, I have airline pilots stopping me. I have mothers stopping me. Yes. And I'm on the plane, and all the people are coming apart. And someone comes slowly, thanks, love your work. And then the police come up and say, we watch you, we watch you. It just amazes me. People say to me, does that annoy you? I said, never, never, because each person is a very precious person in the sight of God. And who am I? Who am I? Who am I? I'm actually one of you. I'm a very quiet lady. I'm a very shy lady. In fact, when Michael and I married 8 years ago, after a year, he said he wanted to start his own health retreat. Now, we had a lot of kids. We had 8 kids, and one of the daughters was cooking, the other one was massaging, the boys were gardening, Michael's daughter was on the computer. I said, who'll be the health director? He said, you. I said, no. I'm just a mother, and I just help other mothers with natural remedies. He said, no, you'll be good, and he walked out of the room. When he walked out of the room, I thought, righto, looks like this is it. I'll tell you something funny. I was in another country a few weeks ago, and I said, righto, and they said, what's that? But no one here blinks when I say righto. I love Australia. Yes. I love being in Australia, and I'm sorry that I cannot speak, but I was in Cairns 2 weeks ago at a big Sunday church, and I gave them a Bible study. A Bible study on health. There was a reporter there, so yeah, they've gone to the AMA, and the Healthcare Complaints Commission apparently have me under investigation again.
Oh, shame.
I sometimes wonder, testing. Yeah. I sometimes wonder if the lawyers and the head of the HCCC who were investigating me, I sometimes wonder if they ever get a sore knee and try castor oil. What have you got to lose? So it is a puzzle to me that I have been banned, and it is also inspiring and exciting to me to see this information reaching so many people. And in Psalm 146 verse 9, the Bible says the ways of the wicked God can turn upside down.
Yes, that's right.
And I believe that's exactly what has happened here. It's been turned upside down. Even though you cannot hear me speak in person on health in Australia, I'm all over the place. And my books have not been banned, so I don't know. Are they really serious about this?
Don't give them any ideas.
Yes. Yes, I see support from many doctors. I see support from many physicians, and it cheers my heart. And they say, Barbara, what you teach is true medicine. Because the fact is, drugs can never heal you.
That's right.
In Psalm 104, verse 14, the Bible says, God gave herbs for the service of man. I love that description. Do you know what that means? The herbs serve you. So you take cayenne pepper into your body. If there's bleeding anywhere in your body, it'll seal those blood vessels. But if the blood vessels are constricted, it'll open the blood vessels, called vasodilation. How so? It's because the herbs work with the needs of your body. Drugs are like robots. They say, get out of my way. I got a job to do whether you need it or not.
That's right. Yeah.
And I was reading of a report of a couple of doctors who were trying cayenne pepper, and one doctor said it's impossible to abuse cayenne pepper. Do you know what that means? You can take a bucket a day, but I don't know anyone who takes a bucket a day. And and people say to me, but Barbara, is it safe?
Yes, of course it is.
Safe? I'd like to suggest that we've forgotten what is safe.
Yes.
Yeah? We could talk about a few other things that are not quite safe, like the statin drugs, the cholesterol lowering medication, and their side effect is Alzheimer's, dementia, muscle wasting, memory loss. Interested? And if you stop immediately, there will be a side effect. Your memory will return. Whereas cayenne pepper, as the good doctor said, it's impossible to abuse it. There is a bit of common sense there, and the taste on our tongue, maybe it's a little bit hot. Try a capsule. It's impossible to abuse it. We've got to go back to knowing what is safe. It is not safe when you do not trust your own instinct. Go with your gut feeling, go with your bottom line, and you've got time to think. Because we didn't get sick overnight, and you don't have to rush in and do this or this now. You've got time to think because it's your God-given right. Don't let anyone take that away from you. Your God-given right to choose what you do and what you do not do to your body. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Barbara. Michael, would you like to say any more words? You've got the microphone. I was going to ask...
Okay, well look, yeah, thank you, Barbara. Please. Okay. It was just information and entertainment. That's all we're doing here today. But yes, we are. This organisation is in our sights. Once again, I've already said thank you. My-Le Trinh, you're amazing. We do have one more speaker that turned up, is here. And we'll invite him up in a sec. But thank you all so much for coming along. It's a wonderful thing. I've written a book about this. It's called The Assassination of Barbara O'Neill. And for $10, if you're interested, you can buy it. It's the whole story. In fact, that's what I gave you, John. That was your eye-opener, wasn't it? Yes. And we've literally, thousands of these are sold. And I just documented all this after it happened, and we put it out in a little book, because I got sick of answering phone calls all day long, people saying to me, what happened? I thought, I'll tell you, I'll write it in a book. So, thank you. Anyway, I'll hand it over to our MC.
We got Wade, Farmer Wade. Oh, Wade.
Hey everybody here in Sydney. We've just come through from we've been at our capital city here, Canberra. So we've been down there while Canberra has been sitting. This is the first of the 48th Parliament. We went there to try and interview as many politicians as we could and ask them questions about the thing that we've just been stuck to now is the international health regulations and the One Health policy from the WHO. It's about the size of it. So the reason we went there to do that is because this regulation, which is now a treaty that we are stuck to, and we have to do everything to get out of it. Yep. This is a thing that is going to destroy our country. Absolutely. And when we look at beautiful people like Barbara, Michael, and all the people who talk about the alternative herbs, medicines, good food, etc., etc., a part of this whole policy that the government has now subjected us to is to destroy your right to choose what you eat. That is absolutely correct. This is a part of their agenda. And one of the sort of things that we have been running with for a long time with Billboard Battalion is the greatest threat to our farmers is our government. And this is not something that's happened by accident. This has been decades in the planning, right back since the end of World War II. And now we are at the pointy end of the stick. So a big part of what we're about is to try and get our politicians to have a candid discussion with us on camera, so then we can put that information to the Australian people. And as they see this attack on us roll out, they will recognise what it is. We need to start pushing back. So far, we've had a really, really terrific interview with Senator Ralph Babet in Canberra. That's online now, not trying to pinch anything from Barbara's stuff, but That's online right now on Billboard Battalion. Look at that and share as much as you can, because Ralph has done an amazing job of that interview. And we got stuck into Ann Webster this morning, because Ann Webster is a National Party lower house member for My-Le in Victoria. And they hung up on us. These are the Nationals, because they know that we're coming after them and we know that we're holding them to account.
Well done.
So therefore, we're starting to get a lot more of the politicians in Canberra who are taking notice. They've started to push us away, but now they're going, oh, maybe that's not such a good idea, because Wade's not really into the being pushed around kind of stuff. So we're giving it to them. And we're talking to Malcolm Roberts, One Nation. We're talking to Bob Catter. We've got a number of other politicians who we're talking to now. And in watching the Labor Party speakers in the Parliament there the other night, they talked about the most amazing, terrific things. And I think, do these people know what the hell they're even signed up to? These policies from the United Nations and the WHO are here to destroy people like Barbara O'Neill.
That's exactly right.
That is why these bunch of scum over here have given it to her.
Yes.
But I'm here to tell you, you want to take on someone a bit bigger, bring it. You bring it. We'll take you on, I don't care who you are. That's all there is to it. There's no backing down, there's no stepping back. This on my shirt is an Anzac. And we are here to defend the spirit of the Anzacs and what they gave us.
Go for it.
That is what this is about.
Yes.
Barbara O'Neill has pushed everything that she has to defend what the Anzacs gave us.
Yes. You're absolutely right.
And just to give you a bit of a closing idea of what this is about, the World Health Organisation, the United Nations and the WAF are in the business of shutting down our farmers.
Yes, that's exactly right.
They're in the business of shutting down your right to grow food
It's obvious.
in your backyard.
Yes. Yes.
The Biosecurity Acts are all about doing this
Yes.
by force.
Yes.
So we cannot just stand there in a defensive position. That time has passed.
Yes.
They've blown the whistle, it's time to come out of the trenches.
Yes.
And like I say, we come up with all 16-inch guns blazing, our battleship is at war.
That's it.
We're fighting for Australia, we're fighting for you, and we need you to fight for you.
Well said. Well said. That's it.
I was very, very proud to have Barbara and... well, we're handing out books over here.
They're selling books on.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, they can hear they're chatting to people.
To have Barbara and Michael, we did an interview with them just before the last election. Barbara was overseas, I think, in Thailand, and Michael met her there. So we did, that was the first time I've ever met them. I've never met them before, but we will in a second. We'll get that sorted. And I thought that we're going to be dealing with some little wimpy Sheila from the rainforest or something like that. But I was impressed on how strong Barbara is. And I was impressed on her and Michael's values and what they stand for. So, you know, they are mighty Australians. There's no two ways about that. We drove... We're a bit late getting here. Sorry about that. We had a big. There was an accident on the Hume when we're coming down, and everything was blocked off with coppers and ambos and tow trucks and things for bits, so we couldn't get through. But we have driven here from Canberra for this very thing right here, and that's all we're here for.
Well, thank you, Wade. I came from Canberra this morning. I'm glad I missed that because I had to bring all the gear.
All right, so on that note, I might pull it up because I literally could talk for another 2 or 3 hours. That's no problem, as everybody would know. Anyway, if you get to see our stuff and you see any of the politicians that I talk about that won't talk to us, get on the job and ring them up. Send them some emails. Hassle them. Not hassle them, I won't say that because it's... But encourage them to talk to Billboard Battalion because we want to know what's going on. And they won't tell us, the mainstream media won't push it, but we will.
Thank you very much, Wade. That's amazing. And look, just a last, who would like another chance in due course, next time Barbara's back in Australia, who'd like to see her again? Barbara, did you hear that? We'd like you to come back. Yeah, well, so if anybody wants to stay in touch, as you can see, we love Hands on Deck. They are selling books here. I don't know how many they've got left, but if you're interested in books, please go and see them at the table. Barbara's having a chat. I do want to let you know, Barbara's official social media channels are only Real Barbara O'Neill on Facebook and Real Barbara O'Neill on Instagram. She is not on Telegram or any other channel, so they're all fake. So Real Barbara O'Neill on Facebook and Instagram. Now, who am I? I'm from Freedom Financial Solutions, as I said, Freedom FFS. I'm going to make this announcement. What Barbara does in helping people take control of their own health, we do in the financial sector. Very quick spiel. Who likes big super? Who likes big government? Looking after their money? No. Have you ever heard of a self-managed super fund? It's where you can transform your digital superannuation that's over there controlled by big super that sometimes, makes investments that crash, you've heard that. Transform it into something you prefer, and a lot of our clients prefer tangible things like bullion, gold and silver. If you're interested in learning how to do that, have a chat to me. We'll do a free consult and tell you how to do it. If you're not suitable to do it, we'll tell you that you can't do it. But if you are and you're interested, Mary Jane at freedomffs.com.au. Now, Vaxxed Bus Australia. Who's seen the Vaxxed Bus? Yeah, okay. So you're on the tour. Okay, we've got the Vaxxed Bus tour people over there if you want to have a chat. And Mary Marshall from Forest of the Fallen. Do you want to come and have a chat for a second, please? So I'll just give you the dates. Coffs Harbour, Baltimore, Newcastle, Gosford, Narrabeen, Penrith, Katoomba. Vaxxed Bus Australia 2025 tour dates. There is a poster here. This lovely lady here will be holding it if you want to come and grab one. I'll also put it on my table over there if you want to take a photo of that. Mary, Rosemary, I apologise, people call me Mary and I hate it. It's Mary Jane, all right? Rosemary, welcome. Can you get up here? Hey, I can help you.
Yeah, wonderful turn up today for these heroes. My-Le, I've followed her progress through this dreadful time she's gone through. She's been absolutely incredible. Anyway, the journey continues. We've got the Vax bus starting. I'm going up to Byron Bay on Friday next week, Ballina, and then we're on the trip. It'll be really interesting to see what sort of reception we have, and I hope it's going to be a warm one because I think people have woken up. I think we're going to have a lot of people who are coming to us with COVID injuries, but I also hope that a lot of the parents who are now waking up to the dangers of the childhood vaccines will be coming and speaking to us. I want to see that Hep B vaccine banned from our precious newborns. More aluminium in that than is recommended for a 300-pound man, and it goes straight through the blood-brain barrier. I'm a grandmother, and nothing infuriates me more than seeing that. Anyway, thanks for the support for all these wonderful people, for Barbara and everyone, and for Forest of the Fallen, which we keep doing every weekend on the northern beaches. People are waking up, and a great team that helps me with that. It's a wonderful vehicle. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Who's seen Forest of the Fallen? Yeah, here we go. Sorry, next time I'll bring a step. Look, thank you everybody. You have seen the police over there. This is a registered protest. The police have been very helpful. Thank you very much. Thank you, police, Sydney Police. Actually, they were more concerned about other people coming to heckle us than us. So they knew that we weren't going to concrete ourselves to the floor or chuck orange paint over any artwork. So thank you very much. Huge round of applause to everybody who came here. If you've got any questions, just grab whoever's wandering around. Thank you to volunteers that helped us, even though that we just grabbed them and said, hang on to our sign. And Mary Jane at freedomffs.com.au if you would like to stay in touch about the next sort of Barbara event in Australia. Over and out. Bye.